Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Again, this is Rhed Manalili from the Rhed Brands. If you're new in this channel is just anything random or anything under the sun. And for today's random video, I'm going to answer some of the frequently asked questions sa akin ng mga kakilala ko at ng mga nakapanood ng journey ko going here in Canada. So, I've been receiving a lot of questions. Usually, same lang naman yung mga questions. So, instead of me replying every now and then sa mga messages or inquiries, might as well come up with this video and maybe it might help also other people. If you want to know more about this, just keep on watching. But before that, please consider subscribing and hit the bell button para updated ka sa future or latest video ko. So by the way, happy 2 months to me here. Parang kailan lang kakadating ko. Ngayon I'm celebrating my 2nd month. And I'm so happy na ang dami ko nang natutunan, na experience. Pero alam kong marami pa akong may experience, marami pa akong matututunan, encounter sa mga darating pang araw. So now, I want to share lang yung experience ko at yung mga ginawa ko prior coming here, processing my paper. Kasi it might help you guys, it might help others. And baka yung mga basic questions ninyo, nasasagutin ko ngayon, baka yun yung hinahanap nyo to decide or para maka-step forward kayo. Just make a brief overview kung paano ako nakarating dito. First things first, straight to the point, wala nang paligoy-ligoy. Ano ba yung work ko dito? So, I landed here with a work na naghihintay sa akin. And I'm a food service supervisor. Saan ako nag-process ng papers? I was actually from Saudi Arabia, so doon ako nag-process ng papers. The term lodge, doon ko sinubmit, pinasas yung papers ko. Kaya Saudi-based ang aking lodging. So, from Saudi, di na ako umuwi ng Pilipinas, dumiretso na ako dito, which is mas better because kaya iba nagko-cross country sila. Like in my case, in the Middle East country, meron talaga silang standard processing time and usually, it doesn't take that much time if I will compare it in the Philippines based on my research and based on my colleagues. Most of my friends who processed their application in the Philippines, it took them at least a year or 2 years. And so, bago sila nakales. In my case, I only processed for like 5 months. Now, next question, saan naman ako nag-apply? Nag-apply ako sa isang consulting firm. I avail a service ng isang consulting company. At the same time, sila na rin yung agency na naganap ng employer for me at nagproseso ng iba pang mga recruitment details like interviews and the like. So, they acted as my consultant, processing my papers, and at the same time, they looked for an employer that is apparently their partner company already. So, yung company ko, during that time, they need a supervisor and I was selected for that position. Next, ano ba yung qualification para masabi na ikaw ay qualified or pwede kang mag-apply ng work going to Canada? So, I will only speak based on my experience at doon sa position ay na-applyan ko. Again, I landed here as food service supervisor and ang requirement ng company na pinasukan ko sa agency na in-applyan ko is at least 10 years of experience in the food service industry. And kailangan for the last 10 years, wala siyang yung parang big gap na 2 years hindi ka nag-work, 3 years may gap ka. Mas prefer nila yung 10 years straight, continuously you are working. Now, pagdating naman sa aking educational background, since I'm applying for a skilled worker position, of course, they require me a bachelor's degree in which I'm actually a graduate of hotel and restaurant management course. So, matched siya. Meron akong a 4-year course, HRM diploma, and at the same time, I have this actually more than 10 years experience working in the food service industry. And by the way, kailangan pala you are currently working in the same field that time na nag-apply ka. And that time, I was actually working in a casual fine dining and fine dining restaurant in Saudi nung nag-apply ako sa kanila. So, ano-ano nga ba yung mga requirements na hiningi sa akin? Of course, aside to CV, employment history, the whole scope of my employment history for the past 10 years. Actually, they even asked me bakit may 1 month and 2 months gap dun sa isang work ko going to another work. And I explained the reason why may gap. Kahit 1 month or 2 months lang yun. Due to my previous company's training arrangements and all. Well, of course, your dated passport na kailangan po valid siya for the next 2 years or more. Kasi syempre yung a-apply mong work permit, pag land mo dito, i-issue sa yun and that will be valid for the next 2 years. Pero kapag yung passport mo is expiring, for example, 1 year from now, yung work permit na ibibigay sa'yo is hanggang dun lang sa validity ng passport mo kung hindi ako nagkakamali. So they really require na you update your passport. If you want to know how to process and renew your passport in Saudi Arabia, you can also watch my previous video or vlog about it. It might help. What else? Of course, pina-assess ko yung bachelor's degree ko sa WES. Usually maririnig niyo yan, WES. WES stands for World Education Services. Sila yung nag-a-assess ng credentials mo sa school para malaman kung ano yung equivalent ng natapos mo in the Philippines here in Canada. In my case, I graduated with a 4-year degree course, pero nung in-evaluate siya, ang naging equivalent niya here in Canada, I'm only a graduate of 2-year diploma course. Why? Pretty much sure it's because in the Philippines back then, during my time, wala pang K-12. 4 years ka lang nag-high school. After that, 4 years ka lang magka-college. Now, I believe sa mga bagong generation in the Philippines is K-12 na siya. I think pag graduate siya ng college might probably be as equivalent ng college graduate here in Canada, but I'm not so sure about that. That's only my idea. Of course, I took my IELTS. IELTS stands for International English Language Test. It's an English assessment wherein meron siyang rating from 1 to 9. And of course, 9 na yung pinaka-highest. That means you are so proficient, you can communicate, command, use English language like you're a native speaker. In my case, my employer or my agency required me to have at least 5 na rating, but successfully and thankfully, I got 7. Which is, I think, it's a good thing for me because, of course, I'm working in the restaurant. I will be a supervisor, so I will give commands or instructions, so that is really important. But I think that would also depend to what position you're applying for, and there are some provinces here in Canada na hindi nagre-require ng IELTS. So it depends sa a-applyan ninyo. So, of course, nag-process din ako ng mga NBI, police clearance. So kung saan ka nanggaling ng mga country, as far as I know, you need to provide a police clearance para masabi talaga na ikaw ay no derogatory records. Parang part siya ng background checking mo. So kumuha ko sa Saudi ng police clearance and NBI in the Philippines. Maybe let me know dun sa ibang mga requirements if you want me come up with a video na mag-explain on how I process these things. I think after nun, more on biometrics, visa stamping, na yung biometrics I did it in Jeddah because doon merong VFS or yung third party na nag-a-assist in behalf of the embassy ng immigration. So from one province, which is Tabuk City, I went to Jeddah to process my biometrics, and later on, days later, I sent naman my passport for visa stamping. Yun yung mga pre-prepare at sinubmit ko. Okay, paano ba yung naging process ko? Because I think for some of you, it was a surprise na sobrang bilis niya. Ang ginawa ko, prior ako mag-start at magbayad doon sa agency, I accomplished my IELTS exam, my EOR or school credentials, pinassess ko na sa WES. Prior ako nag-first payment to my consultant. So that was April 2022, and then nanghingi na sila sa akin ng mga basic requirements. Yung IELTS, yung WES, yung police clearance, yung NBI. Hiningan pa pala ako ng mga visa photo na meron ka pang standard na ipa-follow. Kailangan ganito yung itsura mo. That was April. September, pinagba-biometrics na ako in Jeddah. And then, after ng visa stamping na. And when I received back my passport with a visa stamp, pinag-book na ako ng ticket from Saudi to Canada. So bakit ba nag-take muna ako ng IELTS at pinasas ko muna yung WES credentials ko prior doing the first payment doon sa aking consultant? Yung IELTS, I just wanna make sure that I will pass that assessment based on sa score or sa rating na nire-require nila sa akin. Because, syempre, I'm confident naman with my English speaking skill, pero iba pa rin pag alam mong i-evaluate ka. Of course, hindi ko na yan bumagsak ako doon kaya nag-review talaga ako ng good for 1 month because it costs a lot of money at ayoko masayang yon for my first day. Yung WES naman, kinuha ko lang siya ng maaga kasi it takes 3 to 6 weeks bago mo siya ma-receive. So, ahead of time ko siya kinuha. Anyway, 5 years naman yung validity nun. Yung IELTS naman, 2 years naman yung validity. So, okay pa din. Now let's go to the most asked question sa akin, which is how much yung nagastos ko going here. First, let's discuss ibinayad ko sa consultant. If you happen also to like choose or consider taking the same way ng ginawa ko. It's actually AJ Immigration. You can also watch my previous video about my testimony on how fast and how well they processed my application. Para magkaroon kayo na idea. So basically, I paid 7,900 USD. Again, 7,900 US dollars. And naka-term siya into 3-part payment or 3 terms. So first, you pay 3,000. Second is 3,000. And the last one is 1,900. I wasn't able to go through again with the contract bago ko gawin tong video na to, but as far as I recall with my processing journey is that the moment I sign the contract, I need to pay the 3,000 US dollars right away because that's where it will all begin. So they will prepare your forms that you need to fill out. They will ask you the basic requirements that you need to submit and all. Now, pag malapit ka na doon sa work permit part, if I'm not mistaken, that's the time that you're going to pay the next 3,000 USD para mag-push through with that. After that, pag near visa stamping ka na or biometrics, that's the time that I paid the remaining 1,900 USD. So, all in all, consultant alone, I paid 7,900 USD. Kayo na bahala mag-convert. Question, what is 7,900 USD for? So, that's actually for the retainer's agreement na in-avail ko para i-process ng consultant ko yung papers ko. Kailangan ba na pang mag-a-apply ka ng work to Canada, kailangan mong mag-avail ng consultant? Actually, hindi po. And there are some people, they might suggest also to you na pwede niyong gawin yung DIY or do it yourself. However, in my case, I had a friend na una sa akin sa Canada. In-avail niyang consultant, doon din pala ako nag-a-apply that time. So parang naging testimony siya sa akin na totoo tong company na ito at possible din na mapaalis nila ako. Kumbaga, legit check siya agad. Second, kaya ako nag-avail ng consultant is only because I want to make sure that my papers will be handled well, all the processes will be taken care of. Although lahat naman ng references on how you are going to process your work permit and the rest of the requirements are on Canada's website sa IRCC, and you can actually read that for your own reference. But again, in my case, I don't want karoon ako ng miss out doon sa forms. Also, I have no time reading all the things that I need to know because nga syempre sometimes hectic din ang work. Aside to processing my papers, sila na rin naghanap ng employer ko. For me, if ayaw mo na mag-intindi, like everything is set up for you already, you just need to comply. Yung mga hinihingi sa'yo, you go for a consultant. But if you have enough time to like read all the references online, especially sa IRCC, you can also do DIY and mas mura, but of course, it takes extra effort for that. The second expense that I have is yung on this side ng mga requirements. So, yung WES assessment ko, roughly 15 to 18,000 pesos. And then, my IELTS exam naman, I took it in Saudi Arabia and it costed me 1,350 Saudi Riyals. So, take note ha, meron akong Philippine expense, meron akong Saudi expense. My police clearance in Saudi Arabia costed me 135 Saudi Riyal. And then, yung NBA ko in the Philippines, since nirenew ko siya online and then I chose to have it delivered sa bahay namin para hindi napipick upin ng kapatid ko, 500 pesos. So, nung nagpunta ako sa Jeddah para mag-process ng biometrics, nag-plane pa ako, 600 riyals for that. Now, when I did my biometrics, I didn't pay anything there because yung processing dun sa biometrics, kasama na rin siya doon sa ibinayad ko sa consultant ko. Nung bumalik ako sa province ko in Saudi, few days later, nag-request na sa akin ng embassy na isend ko yung passport ko para sa visa stamping. I paid for the courier. It's like 100 Saudi Riyals. And then, kasama ng requirements ko, which is the passport and all, is yung draft check na may nakalagay na 41 Saudi Riyals para maibalik naman sa akin ng embassy yung passport ko na may visa stamp na. After that, I think yung next at huli ko nang naging expense would be my plane ticket. I think more or less 50,000 pesos na nung kinonvert ko into Philippine peso. And then, of course, bago ko umalis, I secured a little amount of money para pagdating ko dito may pambili ako ng mga basic needs. My rough estimate of my overall expense, mga 500 to 600,000. I'm not really pretty much exact about that because meron pa mga minor expenses. Syempre, mga pamasahe, mga pagkain pa nagpaproseso ka. Basta roughly around that much yung nagastos ko. yeah, I think that's it for this video. I hope nasagot ko yung ilan sa mga basic or yung frequently asked questions nyo in mind. And if you have other questions na you want to ask and pwede kong sagutin, just comment in the comment section below and I'll get back to you about that. That's it for this vlog. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do, please consider subscribing or hit that bell button to get updated to my future latest vlog. Again, this is Rhed Manalili and I'll see you on my next Rhed Randoms. Oh no, I see you here in Canada. I'll see you here at the Great White North. Next kayo naman yung nandito at baka next time kayo naman yung nagkukwento at nag-share na experience nyo para makatulong sa mga iba pang gustong pumunta dito. Stay safe. Bye!